Okay, so today I am making old-fashioned sour cream donuts. They're hard to come by where I live in New York City. My mother just asked me to make her a batch after I made a delicious batch. So this is handletheheat.com. They're old-fashioned sour cream donuts, and my little adaptation on the we're both on the donuts and the glaze. But let's get started. So we're gonna need 2 1/4 cups. My measuring cups. 2 and well, we need something to make it in. That would be smart. Wow, chicka, wow, wow. Let me get in here. This is out. So we'll start with the most important thing, the flour. So 2 1/4 cups of, I do unbleached flour. Please use unbleached. Let's try to make, even though baking can be unhealthy, let's try to make it as healthy as possible with really good ingredients. So unbleached flour, 2 1/4 cup. I probably have just enough. And I use the rest when I roll out the dough later. Hopefully you guys can see. I'm not sure what you see. I'm using a GoPro. Let's put this back. Like to stay neat when I'm cooking. All right, 1 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder. This is my one. So 1 1/2. Yep, this is how I cook. Baking powder. 1 teaspoon of salt. I made a batch not too long ago that was horrible because I dumped a bunch of salt in it. So I am very paranoid about this. I'm gonna do this over the sink just in case see? And I put even less salt. I am like, oh my God, it was the worst batch. I had to throw away a bunch of great looking donuts because of that. 1/2 teaspoon of nutmeg. Be very, very careful with how much nutmeg you put in. There's people who say that if you put too much, it really messes it up. So just about 1 teaspoon. Now here's where I alter the recipe a little bit. I love allspice. So I add a little bit of that, so dash. A little bit of ginger, kind of ground ginger to make it a little healthy and give it a little spicy taste. And I love cinnamon. These are all things that are so healthy for you, so why not add it to a sweet? Okay, put these all back. You're gonna love these. They're gonna be awesome. All right, and now back to the real ingredients. So 1/2 cup of sugar. I have cane, brown granulated sugar. Again, try to keep these as natural as possible. So that's 1/2 cup of sugar. Okay. 2 tablespoons of butter at room temperature, so I'll get that going. I already realized that I made a mistake, and this is why I'll probably be on nail soon, because you're supposed to have the wet and dry ingredients separate. Okay, so I made somewhat of a mistake, but I fixed it. Here is the dry ingredients. So that was the salt, the flour, baking powder, and my seasons, correct? Over here, I'm going to have sugar, 2 tablespoons of butter I just melted. Hopefully it's not too hot. And then 2 K-tree eggs, egg yolks. So it says egg yolks only. So if I do this right, all right. Come on. Okay, this one. All right, so 2 egg yolks. Clean that later. And I am going to take a fork and whisk it. So in order to make this dough, and just keep in mind the dough will be sticky, very, very sticky. So keep your hands wet, and that'll kind of avoid some of that drama. A little bit of, it's going to be 3 separate parts to this. So you have a cup. It says half a cup on Handle the Heat, but I've found that I like to taste better with a full cup of sour cream, and it doesn't change the consistency. So it's like, let's just do it. So I'm going to do a cup of sour cream, just to make sure I have a cup of sour cream here. And then when I mix it, it's going to be in parts. So the 3 different parts. So the sour cream, the dry, and the wet. Okay? So here, and everything's going to go into the dry. So I have a bigger container for the dry. Put like a third of that sour cream, and then a third of the wet, and start stirring. I probably should have had a separate, whatever. So start stirring that. And I'm going to keep it simple. It's just really just adding these 3 things. I'm going to do it quickly because I'm running out of battery, which I'll fix before the next part. I have somebody coming to pick up these donuts, and I've said a lot about them, so a lot on the line. So you'll see that it starts to come together. And I'm doing a lot of this, like, I mean, it's just easy. Like, pretty much I have the most basic, probably less than basic kitchen. So if you have all the basic necessities in a kitchen, you can make these. There's nothing special. No hand mixer, no special donut cutter. I'll show you how I do that. And you can make these donuts for your loved ones, for yourself, whatever you like. Okay. I'm making a mess. I'm going to clean, but I want to make sure I get this all on tape. So I'm going to keep stirring this up. So this is now the official dough. And then once it is well put together, you want to always mix well, right? You don't want too much sour cream on one and not on another. You want everything to come together nicely. Like the world should come together, right? Yes. All right. So just stir it up. And then when it's ready, you can put it in plastic wrap if you have it. What I do, for whatever reason, is I put it in parchment paper and then put it in plastic wrap. I just don't like my food touching plastic like that. So once this is, and this is actually a really good consistency. I don't usually get it this good. I must have did something right here. So once this is all together like a dough, I am going to plop it on a piece of parchment paper, which I'm about to do right now. And hopefully again, oh my gosh, I might have to clean my hands. Okay, wait. This should be big. On a piece of parchment paper, gangsta like that. And then I put it in a Ziploc bag, and then in the refrigerator for 1 hour to chill. Not the freezer. Put it in the refrigerator for 1 hour, and then I'll get back to you guys. Okay, and we are back. I took the dough out of the refrigerator. It's a little chilled. It's been about an hour, a little over an hour. Okay. So I'm going to get a few things situated before I roll out this dough. And it's not as sticky as usual, so that's great. So I have the ingredients for the glaze. I'm going to make the glaze as I'm waiting for the oil to cook. I'm going to get the oil ready. This is all the coconut oil I have left. I use this a lot. So I am going to just have that in there waiting. I'm not cutting it on yet. Just hopefully that's enough. That's all we have right now. That's all we have. And I am going to, oh, what else I have? So I have the oil ready. You might want a little more oil, so probably about 2 inches of oil. I what I like to do is cut out the dough and place it on parchment paper, and then I put on top of these, and then when the and then I'm going to place them on paper towel to dry off, and then once they're kind of cool, I'm going to place them on here so that they can drip the glaze, and the glaze will go in here so I don't have to clean up the bottom. So I'm going to move this for now and get to rolling out this dough and making, she usually makes about 12 donuts, just FYI. Okay, so, and I use, how big is this? Just a regular sized cup, the top of the cup. I would say this is maybe 6 inches, 7 inches in circumference. Does that make sense? And then the top of a Poland Spring bottle for the inner part. Let's get rid of this. So, put that to the side. Get my flour. Roll this out. I'm going to need more of that. So put that there. Let's get this dough. Let's get this dough. Okay. So my sister's coming in probably an hour to pick up these. No, 6. Oh yes, an hour to pick up these donuts. So hopefully they were ready by then. What I usually like to do, and I'm just saying what I like to do. That's why I'm very clearly saying what I like to do is separate it into 2. So I get this so it's not so sticky. Roll it in the flour. And this consistency is a little different than the one I made last night. So I'm going to pray that that's a good thing and not a bad thing. I'm going to put that to the side. And I definitely need, I think I'm going to need more flour, given how this is feeling. Yes, I'll clean up this later. Just put some more flour here. Alright. So, yes, okay, here we go. I was starting to feel doughy. Feel doughy. Okay. Okay. If you made stuff like this before, you know how it feels or how it should feel. You're not getting that wet stickiness anymore, and it's just soft and gooey. And just keep getting it on that flour anytime it starts to get a little sticky until you have a nice dough happening here. Now usually when I first started making this, I would make the donut, the munchkins out of the holes that was left over, but now I've gotten like really cool and I just add it to the remaining dough and just keep making donuts until the end. Alright, so I'm going to roll this out. It still feels a little sticky, but what I do is when I feel like I might be messing up something, I just pray. I mean, if you cook with love and you pray the whole time, I just feel like things that wouldn't normally come out right do. Maybe that's just me. Yeah, because that was getting weird again. Definitely have to clean that off. All right, here we go, here we go, here we go. All right, so you want to roll this out until it's about, I could be completely wrong, but maybe 1/4 of an inch thick. And you probably want to do something bigger than this. Like, I don't mind, so I use what I have, which is not much. So I usually make about 2 at a time, but you can make more. You can do it all at once if you're cool. I'm not cool yet. I try to be. So I make my donuts. I put the clean water bottle top, and then just place it on the parchment. So I'm going to do that. Move this one up the way. So that was the first one. I take the extra dough and stick it in that mound over there, and then make my next hole. This is easy. Like, once you've done it a few times, you're going to realize how easy it is. Like anything else in life, it's like riding a bike. So don't freak out. Like, do it slow, but don't feel like it's a lot. It's not a lot to do. You can make these and they'll come out amazing. Don't worry about it. You're using fresh ingredients. I mean, granted, it is a baked good. It's going to be a lot of sugar, but if you try to make everything with homegrown or organic, unbleached ingredients. You're giving your family something sweet and delicious, but not anything that's going to like cause cancer or cause any health effects. So it's just wholesome goodness. And it's made with love. You gotta be loving the whole time you're making it. Right? Right. You want to feed your family only the best. You want everybody to live long, live healthy. Okay. Yeah. Alright. Well, so far it's looking, I mean, it was scaring me a little bit, but now it's going back to like that, what I'm used to, kind of dough. So this will probably make 2 or 3 more on this side. Remember, I have the other piece of dough I put to the side, just so I don't freak out. It's not stressful. It's a fun, enjoyable process. I know it's going to make amazing donuts for my family. My sister's coming to pick it up for my mom, and all my nieces and nephews will probably get one. So I'm going to make it slow, make it great. Yep, so this is going to make probably 3. So the last one I just kind of mold into a circle-ish, and then just to make it, okay, so it feels somewhat normal, like it's a donut. And I'll put this with the other mound, and then make the little hole, not a hole, hole. All right, so that's gonna be a fat donut. Okay, so I wanted to get some dishes done, but I hear this is ready. I am going to start making the glaze gradually as I place the donuts in, and they get, I mean, it takes about maybe a minute to a minute and a half on each side for them to be ready. You don't want them to burn or get overcooked, otherwise you're going to have gross donuts. So you want to pay close attention, I know this from experience, to what's happening in this pot. The glaze, like I said, I'm going to use kind of part of the handletheheat.com recipe and a little changes that I added myself. So I am putting 2 tablespoons of butter in to warm up, to melt. And I'm going to put 3.5 cups of powdered sugar. Like I said, this is a lot of sugar, but like any other sweet. But let's see here. So 3.5 cups is probably exactly how much I have left. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So 3.5, that's like the biggest part of it is the sugar. I have just a little bit left for something special. A little bit of salt. Remember I told you I'm a little terrified of the salt, but it's a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. I'm just putting a sprinkle. I'm not playing that game again. Corn syrup. It's 1.5 cups. I ended up putting a little bit more than that. I'm sorry, 1.5 teaspoons. I just kind of, there we go. A 1/2 teaspoon of vanilla extract. I also kind of just put that in a little bit there. And what I have in here now is what's on Handle the Heat. And then 1/3 cup of hot water. I like to add to this the 2 tablespoons of butter, 1/3 cup, I'm going to heat up this hot water, and then 1/3 cup of creamer or milk. I like the creamer because it adds a little bit more taste to it. So as this melts, I'm going to start placing the donuts. It's definitely ready. I don't know if you can see that, but it automatically started to fry. And I usually can fit about 4 or 5 in here at a time. So we'll have probably 2 batches. Yeah, I can get 5 in here. And remember, just pay attention because they go in and then they all of a sudden start to float if you have the right amount of oil in, which I don't. It'll be okay. And I'm going to put the, ooh, hot. You can use hot water from your tap, but I live in a horrible building. I don't trust the tap water at all, so that's why I'll be using the Poland Spring. But I'm going to put 1/3 cup of creamer, so you can do that now. And then we're going to put those 2 tablespoons of butter. Should be ready soon. I'm going to turn this up a little more. and then the water. And while that's happening, I'm just going to pay attention to these. Remember I said about a minute and a half, a minute to a minute and a half on each side. Like you'll be able to see when it browns. You don't want it too light, you don't want it too dark. Caramel colored donuts. Okay, and we still have another hour before Mimi comes to pick up the donuts. I like to sing and cook. I'm going to start mixing this just to see what we have happening, if anything. Because I'm slightly ADD. Yesterday I made this, and before I put the hot water in, it was just like good. It was like almost like flour, which is, yeah, what it's turning into now. It was like a dough. I mean, not flour. It's turning into like a dough, and you need it to be loose enough to dip the donut. See? So that's what that hot water and that butter is going to come into play. It's definitely getting that same consistency of like a paste, a thick paste. When you don't want that, you want it to be a little loose, but not too loose. Loose, but not too. Oh my God. Okay, time to turn these over. I'm going to switch this over here because I want to get a piece of paper towel so that these can. All right, so I'm going to turn these over ASAP. See what happens when I start talking and getting. That's a good color. A little, maybe too brown. Ish. No, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Black and beautiful donuts. There we go. All right. And this is melted. Perfect timing. So I'm going to stick this in here. I'm going to put my third cup of water in. I'm in a rush, so I didn't clean it out, but it'll be fine. That should be enough. Put this away. Using the other side, it cooks a lot faster because the heat has, yeah. So I'm just going to give this a few more seconds and take those out. Let this get hot. Stir this up. Still very thick. Let me get all that sugar in there. You can add food coloring if you want like colored donuts. I like just the regular old-fashioned white cream donut. Oh, here we go. Okay. Definitely time to take these out. So just gonna place that there. I'm cooking this with love. My intention is love and delicious donuts. Good mood, positive energy. I know my babies are going to enjoy these. So I'm putting in the next, my mother and the babies. Putting the next batch in. Oh, some of these are sticky. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's going to be 3. I was trying to do this quickly, but it's going to be 3. I can't put any more than that. You don't want to overcrowd it. Okay. So I'm going to have these 2 left. Really hoping that comes off. Very sticky. This one should be okay. Nope, 2 sticky ones. Last 2 sticky ones. So we're gonna pray for those 2 donuts. All right. When this water is a little hotter, not too hot, we're gonna add it to this, and we are officially done with the glaze, and we're good. Ready. I like that brown, so I think I'm gonna switch these over soon. So it's easy. You can make your own donuts. You don't have to go to Dunkin' Donuts because you don't know what they've made it with. And generally, when it's that commercial, they're not using the best ingredients. They don't care. It's all about how much money they can make, not what you're intaking, what you're consuming. We've lost the love for other people. So. All right, this is definitely getting hot. I think that's hot enough. I don't want it too hot. And I am pouring that. Ooh, I probably put too much in. This is what I do. So let me just pour a little out. Kind of guesstimate. Okay, so this should be enough to make it into a glaze. I'm gonna go slow. Okay, so I had time to wash the dishes, so I don't go crazy here. But I was not happy with the level of glazing. This is not how it was yesterday. So I think when I put that hot water in, I should have measured, of course. But I just added a lot more powdered sugar to get this thick consistency, and I'm fairly confident this should fix it. So let's see. We're going to do a second dip here and see if this helps it. And I think it does. That is how it was yesterday. It's also not as hot, so it's probably not absorbing. There we go. Now I'm happy. Now I'm happy. I'm gonna keep our two special donuts together in case they're like, we don't want those two. But that's the thing with my cooking. Like, I feel like when I hype it up, this is when catastrophes happen. I have to be less cocky, more humble, like, oh my god, I think I might be able to make donuts. And then they'll come out amazing. And you just surprise people. Lower their expectations and you always surprise people. So when you finish this, you should have, I mean, this should be the last time I glaze, so it's okay that we're running out, a ton of glaze under the rack. I sometimes use that to add more, depending on how I feel about them. As of now, I am happy. This looks a lot better to me. So I might, depending on whatever, might add a little more glaze. I'll show you what I'm talking about, because you're probably like, what is she talking about? This. So I used to take this and then just put it over a few of them to add more glaze, but this is a good amount of glaze, and hopefully they enjoy them. So those are the donuts, and I hope you all enjoy. Live well. Love you. So see you soon. Peace.
My